Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to take some time out to go even further into something that I only briefly alluded to in the past during the Code versus Kashin Koji video, but I've gotten DMs from some of you guys who have asked about Ikemoto saying that like Boruto draws influence from the Matrix and what I meant by the whole Koji is the Oracle stuff. And I was saying that we should be saying a prayer for Kashin Koji because it's basically cemented his days as being numbered. And given the response I've seen, there's quite a few of you guys who have not seen the Matrix. So it's wow, that makes me feel like totally old now because that came out in the 2000s. And some of you guys did not understand the reference. So that's why in today's newest Naruto Explain video, I want to talk to you guys in detail about why Kashin Koji is almost certainly going to die at the hands of Jura, the awakened version of the Ten Tails, and how all of this mirrors very closely the relationship of Neo and the Oracle with Kashin Koji and Boruto, and how Jura being a loose resemblance of Agent Smith, that's all tied together. So I think most of us would agree that Kashin Koji, it ain't looking too good for him. If for no other reason than the fact that in the flashback in the last chapter, it showed us that two different parties, both dangerous to varying different degrees, had gotten dangerously close to finding his location. You had Gar and the team that was made up of his adopted children, which I saw those you guys asked me, why did I call them adopted children? It's stated in Boruto chapter 3 that all three of them are his adopted children. Volume 1 of Boruto Naruto Next Generations. But they're there looking for Kashin Koji. Then we have the situation where Matsuri and awakened Shinju is also looking for Koji. Though they didn't know him by name, they knew Boruto had a helper who was in the Land of Wind, and they were searching Orochimaru's old hideout. Between that and Shinki's Shinju Ryo wanting to consume Gar, who's currently sealed away in said hideout, and now Code joining in on the hunt, it means that if Kashin Koji stays put, he runs the risk of being found. And as we learned when Boruto was in jail, Kashin Koji has told Boruto his identity can never be discovered, basically alluding to the fact that if that happens, it's game over. And Koji has been discovered by Kawaki and Amato, who have each figured out that Koji's helping Boruto, but neither verbally said anything yet. But saying his name at the wrong time, potentially being overheard by Shinju, that's gonna jumpstart the beginning of the end. However, I want to take an even deeper look here, an in detail look at why this directly sets up the comparisons to Koji being the Oracle and Jura being the Matrix / Agent Smith. In short, Agent Smith absorbs the Oracle and gains her power, which is basically what Kashin Koji is. Jura is obsessed with gaining more knowledge and something like 10 directions that will be overload information for Jura for the stimulation that he's seeking. Yet here's the thing, we have to dig even deeper here to make the further case of linking these two together symbolically, given how Boruto has been patterned after Neo for design, Sarda loosely after Trinity, and there are other overlaps there that's worthy of their own videos. But for now, let's just go further with Koji and Jura and the Oracle and Agent Smith, and how all these destinies are all drawn together by fate. So starting with Kashin Koji, we'll take a look at 10 directions and the foresight ability that the Oracle has. Basically Kashin Koji versus the Oracle. So in Boruto, Kashin Koji's ability 10 directions, it allows him to see possible future outcomes, enabling him to understand what might happen and plan his moves strategically. This gives his ability a near Oracle-like role, as he can manipulate events by predicting various scenarios. This echoes the Oracle's power in the Matrix, as she can see possible futures and uses the knowledge to guide Neo on his journey. The Oracle's foresight is not absolute, but it enables her to create a roadmap for Neo by highlighting paths that lead him closer to his destiny, helping him unlock his full potential. Sounds familiar? Kashin Koji's helping Boruto unlock his full potential too. Kashin Koji's 10 directions works very similar by helping Boruto and what appears to be the eventual growing team that now he has allies with Shikamaru and Sarda and now Kawaki, and in moments of crucial importance, looks like Kashin Koji's being set to come up clutch with the information. This has been his destiny from the very start. As Ishiki stated, Amato made him as a clone of a man who was born under a star of change that altered the path of the shinobi world, and Amato was trying to do the same thing with Koji. Ikemoto also happened to give Kashin Koji 10 directions, which is a power that could change the future depending on how it's used. Whether he intentionally or unintentionally gave it to him, he still gave it to him, so this still applies. Kashin Koji is currently basically serving as a command center for Boruto, guiding him from afar. In both cases, Kashin Koji and the Oracle do not control the future entirely, but influence outcomes by providing critical insights. This knowledge shapes how the protagonists interact with the world, setting them on a path toward growth and self-realization. Next, we're going to take a look at why guiding the protagonist against the larger threat takes center stage here and how it's mirrored Boruto and Koji and the Oracle and Neo. So Kashin Koji's aid to Boruto in combat, specifically against foes like Jura, and ultimately setting the stage for him to fight against Code, the person who is attempting to harvest a chakra fruit. And just as Agent Smith came from the Matrix, Jura came from Code's Karma Seal being used on the Ten Tails. Kashin Koji has called Jura a threat that destroys the world in most scenarios, particularly the one we are down now, which Kashin Koji called the worst possible outcome, where he saves Boruto and Boruto saves Sasuke, but Boruto ends up dying in the process. Koji's already saved Boruto from the Sand Village Ninja, and now Boruto is ultimately going to save Sasuke. Will he die? We don't know yet. Together, Koji and Boruto, they're trying to change that fate, because while Koji can see possible futures, he cannot directly change them with his own power. As in, the power of 10 directions does not change fate. Only he can see and advise and try to shape it into a better future once the path has been chosen, which Boruto chose that path, save Sasuke. This is reminiscent of the Oracle's guidance to Neo against Agent Smith in the Matrix itself. Both the Oracle and Kashin Koji, they help the protagonist by acting as mentors who can anticipate the antagonist's next moves while also maintaining a level of detachment from the protagonist. And they use this foresight to support their allies and protect them even when the allies don't realize it. So the Oracle, for example, understands Agent Smith's growing threat within the Matrix and recognizes Neo's role in balancing this chaotic force. Her guidance allows Neo to prepare for his final battle with Agent Smith long before Neo even realizes it. Similarly, Kashin Koji's interventions, particularly his confrontation with Jougan, which weakened Jougan and ultimately set the stage for Ishiki to be killed, it became pivotal. And then stepping in to save Boruto from walking down the wrong path, he trained him using 10 directions to level him up to a point where he is now basically prime Boruto, who knows every possible jutsu that Boruto from all the timelines that he failed to defeat Jura learned, in the hopes of allowing him to even the playing field by creating openings and guiding the protagonist against otherwise unbeatable foes. Koji and the Oracle become the unseen architects of events, helping the heroes take their destined path towards defeating their greatest enemy. Next, we're going to take a look at the symbolism in the Oracle sacrifice and how the same fate is being set up for Kashin Koji and Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. So the Oracle's death in the Matrix is both symbolic and impactful. She allows herself to be overtaken by Agent Smith, sacrificing her current form and her power to fulfill a larger purpose. Her death, quote unquote, symbolizes the ultimate sacrifice of knowledge and wisdom for the greater good, and it marks the path at which her guidance must stop, leaving Neo to finally act on his own. By allowing herself to merge with Smith, she introduces a vulnerability that ultimately becomes his undoing. Could that happen with Koji and Jura? It seems likely. Her death also holds a deeper symbolic meaning. It represents the acceptance of chaos and the balancing of opposites. And Naruto as a franchise is big on yin and yang. Also something to keep in mind. The Oracle's role as a symbol of wisdom, acceptance, and hope, it counterbalances Agent Smith's aggression, hatred, and fear. When she sacrifices herself, it signifies the end of her guidance and foreshadows the inevitable collision of these opposing forces, which Neo must face alone. Again, it's all about balance, and I think it's one of those things where Boruto, he might not be alone, but he will be an agent for balance. In this way, The Oracle's death, it empowers Neo, giving him the opportunity to achieve balance within the Matrix and himself, which is the key to defeating Agent Smith, just as this might be the case with Boruto. So in Boruto's story, Kashin Koji's own eventual willingness to sacrifice his life to help Boruto echoes the Oracle's sacrifice by intervening in ways that will potentially endanger and end his life and his plans. He creates opportunities for Boruto to step up as a future protector, pushing himself closer to the hero's journey that will prepare him to face a greater threat like Code, who, while he might be fodder trash right now, getting his limiters removed and surpassing Jougan, only to be made to look like an even bigger fool than the glue-eating 12-year-old Naruto, Code is still someone dangerous because of his obsession with the Otsutsuki and his own damaged pride, and having tools that he created try to belittle him and mock his eventual fate. Code being a bigger threat than that, it comes after Jura takes down Koji, and it makes sense in that Boruto and Kawaki are trying to defy fate as Otsutsuki vessels, while Kawaki escape having Ishiki resurrect using his body. He is slowly turning into Ishiki personality-wise in his cruel and calculating way he's taking his methods. Boruto still has Momoshiki, and while he can't be reborn in Boruto's body, he can hijack his body, and so Boruto still has that sword hanging over his head because Momoshiki has vowed to permanently suppress Boruto's soul since he can no longer be reborn. Controlling Boruto's body permanently, it is his consolation prize. He can't be reborn, but he can have a full-blown test drive that never ends. Code also has karma. It's a defective one, but he too is trying to defy fate in that he was given karma and he was useless, and so he is now trying to become useful, all to serve the Otsutsuki that he worships. Agent Smith ultimately absorbed the Oracle. Jura will feast on Kashin Koji at some point. Both Agent Smith and Jura represent the evolution of going from being a cog in the system, which Agent Smith was for the Matrix, and Jura was as the Ten Tails main body, to becoming unchecked entities of power and chaos. Jura started out like Agent Smith, blindly following the role that was given to him, being a Ten Tails whose only real duty was to consume Otsutsuki and be used as fodder to cultivate a chakra fruit for someone else to eat. Like Agent Smith, Jura eventually wanted more, as we're seeing now. By the time Agent Smith targets the Oracle, his purpose, it is shifted from maintaining the Matrix order to fulfilling his own desire for absolute power and independence. Smith, originally designed as an agent tasked with preserving the Matrix stability, begins to hate the confines of his programming and the humans that he monitors. His increasing autonomy and disdain for his purpose led to his true pursuit for power for his own sake, pushing him towards the path of unrestrained consumption. Much like you see Jura's doing a similar thing. The Oracle is the one who is one of the most powerful programs within the Matrix, symbolizing wisdom, foresight, and balance. By absorbing her, Smith hopes to gain access to her foresight abilities and the insight into the Matrix inner workings, making him more of a potent threat. His desires for power to elevate himself beyond any entity in the Matrix, humans and machines alike. The Oracle's decision to allow herself to be absorbed, it allows Agent Smith to symbolically consume wisdom and balance, creating an imbalance that further destabilizes the Matrix. The act of consumption shows his complete rejection of the system's constraints and any values or order it might have represented. The Oracle's absorption foreshadows that only a final reckoning, Neo's confrontation with Smith, can restore balance, just as Boruto, with his final confrontation with Jura, will lead to a balance being restored, because right now, because of Code's actions, Jura is not doing what he was originally meant to do. The act of sacrifice in literature, it is deeply symbolic. Oftentimes, sacrifice can be used as a catalyst for change, and in this case with Jura and Agent Smith and the Oracle and Kashin Koji, it's getting back to the cynical nature of balance, sacrificing one's form and identity so that the inevitable conflict that restores balance and resolution can be enacted. This is how Koji will help Boruto, just as his genetic parent Jiraiya was at a point where his sacrifice, his willing sacrifice, would lead to peace or destruction by one of his students. Koji is being set up for his own sacrifice to be what pushes Boruto to make a change that alters the possible future that Kashin Koji saw. Just as the Oracle was a catalyst of change and choices being made by Neo, Boruto and Kashin Koji appear to be set up for a similar role, which explains why Kashin Koji isn't treating Boruto the same way that Jiraiya treated Naruto with warmth. It's already out of character form in that Kashin Koji's not Jiraiya, but now this adds another layer to it. He cannot afford to form any attachment to Boruto to cloud his mission when the time comes. I'll discuss Jura's character in depth in another future video because there's a lot of Buddhism themes I want to look into his character, because Ikemoto's whole Matrix revelation definitely made me look at his character differently, and I see some Buddhism links there, but it wasn't appropriate to talk about in this video. But hopefully this video now at least makes clear the commonalities I saw between the Oracle and Kashin Koji, and explains why Ikemoto's own self-admitted inspiration from the Matrix when doing Boruto 2 Blue Vortex story is a lot bigger than we might have thought. Both Kashin Koji and the Oracle, they play vital guiding roles that transcend simple mentorship. Through their foresight and willingness to make personal sacrifices, they help the protagonists of their respective stories navigate the chaos surrounding them, steering them towards their own fates. The Oracle's death in the Matrix embodies the themes of sacrifice and balance and the acceptance of opposing forces, which ultimately empower the protagonist. Similarly, Kashin Koji's 10 directions and intervention in Boruto's fate to serve and cultivate Boruto's growth, it is setting the stage for his own journey against these overwhelming odds, as Boruto, Kawaki, and Code, to their own varying degrees, are trying to restore balance by defying the fates that were forced upon them. While you wait for this Jura video, click here to watch this video for my Anime Explained channel, where I talk about non-Naruto content, or click here to watch this video from Naruto Explained.